Hello everyone and welcome to today's video, and today we have another sub request by Madcat3.0 for the Ho-229 V3. Oh boy, this is going to be another interesting depth because this is another one on Joe's to-do list. And this probably is the strangest one that's on my to-do list. So as you can tell, this thing, if you don't know much about the Horton, I'll briefly explain. As you can tell, this is a bit of an interesting shape, to say the least. It lacks a vertical stabilizer, so we have basically no yaw. And as you can tell, there's no visible really anything. All of the elevators and ailerons are built into the wings, which, yeah, this is creative, to say the least. This is what happens when you let Hans get a little bit too, shall we say, pissed at a party, and he decides he will make a flying wing, which is what these are referred to. Now, I've heard all these stupid theories and all that jazz off of the B2 Spirit being related to this thing. You ought to look up some of the theories. It's actually quite hilarious. But yeah, this is, from what I've looked up, like, this is just completely batshit of an aircraft design. They actually did some testing with it, and they found it did have a reduced radar section, but not by a huge amount. And yeah, this thing is definitely interesting, to say the least. But yeah, this is something where you have to kind of look at it, and well, I probably will review this thing at some point, but the Attacker at the minute is something I've been enjoying a bit more. And it is my very first flight of this thing as well. So to go briefly over this thing, it has twin MK103 cannons, which if these things hit, they should completely devastate something, but it's War Thunder, so I'll probably spark. We have a decent ammo count as well, 170 rounds, and this should last us a decent amount. We then have two Junkers Juma 004Ds, with 990 kilometers of thrust. This shouldn't be too bad. We've got decent engine power for an early jet anyway. I think we're going to be okay. Obviously, the lack of armor and the fuel tanks being easy to set on fire might affect us, but I mean, this thing looks a pretty easy spade, I will say that. Like, just belts, fuselage repair, engine upgrades, airframe, and then new guns. Like, this really shouldn't take too long. Like, yeah, the RP requirements do throw some spanners in the works, but I think we'll be fine. Without further ado, let's get in and let's get cracking with this flying wing. Now, I'm going to say this right away. I've not test flown this thing in years. I believe it has an air brake from last time I flew it, in a test flight anyway. And I've never really touched a flying wing. So this is going to be interesting and a whole new learning experience. That's probably going to be the title of this video, to be honest. Anyway, I'll see you all in the first match. And about 3 minutes later, we get our first match on Pyrenees? Pyrenees? I don't know. I probably butchered that, but well, that's something we have to live with, I'm afraid. Let's have a look at our potential matchmaking. We appear to be at 8-0, because we've got an IL-28. This is going to be interesting, to say the least. Alright, let's roll out to the Wunderwaffen. Let's go. Yeah, I've not really, like... Oh, hold on. There's a perfect opportunity here. Hello there. See? General Kenobi. Yeah, I know. That was terrible, but it had to be done. Alright. So like I said, I haven't done a test flight of this thing in years, so take-on profile, I would imagine, is just like a King Cobra with a slightly higher nose wheel. Yeah, it's got that much lift, it wants to get off the ground itself. Good. Let's get it leveled out, and let's get some speed. Which early jets don't tend to enjoy, but well, this one's going to have to, because we need speed. And we are not going to climb like a prop, so There is that as well. A lot of people make that mistake when they fly jets. They think they climb like props. They really don't, especially these early ones. But the early ones, in my opinion, give you a bit more of a challenge. That's why I like flying the early jets. Like, you have to basically take what you know about props and throw that in the bin for the most part, and go from there, really. So I will say this, the acceleration seems to be quite poor. I mean, it is an early jet, as I said. But, I mean, it's got plenty of lift. It's definitely a very beautiful aircraft. Like, I could definitely, like, you know when, I don't know if anyone's played it, the, I think it's the second Wolfenstein game, where they're attacking and you're in the bomber aircraft, and you see these things flying around with P-51 Mustangs escorting you? Well, a P-51 look-alike. Like, this thing looked mean in that game, and in this one it just looks really good. Like, it looks scary, so to speak. Okay, now that we've gotten up to some decent speed, it is actually keeping speed quite well. Like, this is pretty good. Let's have a feel for the elevator response. That feels fine. That feels fine. Anyway, so it's going to take us a few minutes to get further into there. I will see you all in a few minutes. Well, you joined me about 2 minutes later, and we've discovered some snacky snacks. And the good news is, I was right, and it does have an air brake, so we're going to go feast on this Sky Knight. Come here, Mr. Sky Knight. I can retract this air brake now. Now I'm going to remember to lead on these fucking guns. Yeah, I like the guns already. They are going to take a bit for me to get used to, but, well, that's normal because I don't use Mark 108s. 103s. And I know I said Marks. That annoys Birdie, so that's why I said it. Yeah, the weird yaw, because obviously it doesn't have a rudder like we would typically have on a normal aircraft. This is definitely really, like, weird, and it feels unusual. Like, you can definitely feel the difference. Like, look at that. I'd normally have a shot on that F3D, but because I don't have a rudder, this feels weird. Like, I've definitely got to take this thing out some more, because this feels weird. I'm not used to this at all. Like, I'm so used to actually, like, it feels like I'm flying a P-51 at like 700 miles an hour or 500 miles an hour, where I don't have a rudder anyway. Like, it feels like that. Come on, baby, pull up. One thing I will say is it does bleed quite a lot of speed, like, especially in vertical maneuvers, but it feels very maneuverable. Okay, let's get some speed back up, because this thing doesn't seem to like to gain airspeed. It seems to not like that. Like I said, this is unusual, and this is going to take some practice for Joe. Oh dear. There goes the Panther. F-80 might be diving for me. Nope, we're good. Let's swing it back round. Yeah, this thing really is weird, but I can also see, like, why I've caught this thing in props before, because it bleeds quite badly. Just watching that F-80 now, it's just him and the F-80 in front of us. And that's that, pretty much.
Excellent.
Okay. Meteor's potentially got some shots off, but the F-80's just got the speed to keep on going. Alright, I'm gonna go for some ground targets. See if I can get these cannons to do some work down here. What's the default belt? API, HEI, IT. Okay, that's not too bad. I can work with that. F-80 is probably a C, so he's playing it smart. He's not using up his advantage, so to speak. I would go for the bots, but I think I want to see how these guns do in ground attack. Because, like I said, I don't get to use MK103s in really anything. My most recent flyout in something that had these guns is the No-335 months ago, and that was for a special task. All right, let's line it up on the targets. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go for the PTs. That's surprisingly lackluster, I must say. F-8's gotten greedy, so he's probably going to be dead very shortly. So look at that bleed. It just bleeds speed. That is really interesting to note. There we go. High explosive round actually connected. That did surprisingly nothing. Okay, note to self. Do not shoot at trucks or vehicles in general. Well, do not shoot at light tanks unless you have HVAP. I was going to say, that 30mm should have messed up that truck, but it really didn't. See, that did something, but that was an AP round. This is really weird. Like, this is a whole new world. That was not an intentional film reference, but it also kind of was. Like I said, it's... You know, because... I know this sounds pretty normal to you veteran Horton pilots, but, like, to someone who's, like, so used to having a rudder in 99.9% of aircraft, this is definitely a nice experience. Like, it definitely teaches you... This plane teaches you quite a bit. If you're a German mate, it teaches you how to fly a P-51 at high speed, I guess, so that's something. And yes, I know American players, the rudder on the Mustang is not that bad, but... There we go, that should do it. That's that one destroyed. But yeah, this team's actually done pretty well. Like, they've supported each other decently. We've walked away with a kill, which was very satisfying. And I think the F-80 is actually doing quite well for himself. He's managed to get himself a kill, might get himself a second. I think I might have to go and help that guy. There we go. That's that vehicle destroyed. And there goes the other BTR. Is he going to go for that one? Nope. And he's just killed the MiG-9. So I'm going to go and deal with this F-80. Let's go get him. But of course, I'm going to wait till I get some airspeed because I want as much speed as possible. But yeah, this... I must say, Madcat, you've definitely given me something that I want to learn. I want to learn how to master this thing and get used to it. What the fuck was that? Oh, it said T-44-100. I think he's gone behind these mountains because he should be coming over the mountains now, but he's not. And that's concerning. Oh no, he's reclimbed. Okay. So I'm going to turn around because then we have support of our team. And we are still maintaining a decent amount of speed. Thank you. So for some reason the 30mm seem to overpressure, but like they also don't overpressure. It's really weird. Thank you. Still got enough rounds to kill an F-80, so I'm really not bothered. Ah! That freaking thing nearly killed me. Goddamn trucks. Okay, F-80 is coming in now, so we got an assist on the BTR. I think it is a C. Let's have a look. No, it's an A. It's an A. So it is still a good jet. I love the F-80 myself. But we will have to bear that in mind. He's going for the Su-9. To be honest, I don't blame him, because I'd probably want to kill the Su-9 more than I would Horton. God, these guns feel weird. I'm not going to take that risk. He knows that I bleed in the vertical quite badly. Which is odd to me. Like, yeah, it has a lot of drag, but to me, this thing shouldn't bleed as bad as it does in the vertical. Okay, hard turn. Ow! You little shit! You scratched my beautiful German paint! Probably gonna die in this head-on, but I will gladly take a head-on if I have to. Yeah, he's not daft. I'll give him that, but unfortunately he just took too long. Not a bad first run for this aircraft, I will say. It's definitely something where I'm gonna have to take this thing out a bit more, I think. I'm just gonna hold fire on pressing to hanger because again, I will go back and make a table of this thing. But yeah, obviously ignore the special task because obviously we killed an attacker, but yeah. This is definitely something where I think I need to do some more homework, but also I think I just need to take this thing out more. It felt really interesting to fly. Like, it felt very maneuverable, but at the same time, it bled a lot more than I was expecting. So, if anything, I have trouble dealing with horns in some of my props and my early jets. So I think it's going to be interesting for me to learn how best to counter it. And it seems to be that the vertical is the answer. So that's at least something. But obviously, its raw turn rate is what can give it the advantage in that said maneuver. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a good learning experience for me. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed seeing the Ho-229 in action. It is definitely one that I'm looking forward to having a bit more of a go with. And let me know what you think. Is this a aircraft I should be taking out more? Because I want to try it, that's for sure. Anyway, leave you all to it for today, and I will see you all on the next one.